Hey everybody, welcome to I don't even know what episode this is. I guess it doesn't really matter at this point. um, but I made a video yesterday that I think was supposed to be episode 137, and I think I'm going to scratch it, so maybe this will become the new default 137. I don't know. Somewhere around in there. Uh, it's 19, sorry, it's it's 2024. We're at what, the 16th now of January. I figured it's looking back in the day, as all the stuff that I'm always talking about. We're gonna go back to 1984, 40 years ago. Okay, so I was still 10, but I would turn 11 in July. So I'll turn 51 in July of this year. So we're gonna go back to 1984. And we're going to look at a couple of things. We're going to look at the wish books of, back in the day. If anybody remembers those, younger people aren't going to really get this. And we're going to look at the cost of things, and specific things that I've been talking about, things of 1984, in relation to how much how much things cost back then, and how much people made. And we're going to kind of maybe draw some correlations today, but probably won't get too deep into that. So the first thing I wanted to show for this, I'm going to go right into the video here, or right into the cross screen and show you this stuff. So I just looked up, just as a general, what do you call it, Google search. I just wanted to look up Wishbook. And I think I came across this, archive books. Oh, it's Sears 1984. Actually, let's check this out real quick. I didn't see this before. This might actually be easier to scroll through than the other one. Okay, we had that. So let's talk about this one. Okay, so this is 1984 wish book from Sears. It's a perfect place to be. I would say J.C. Penney's. We had the Penney's catalog too, and Montgomery Ward's. The other one I had was the Montgomery Ward's. But let's look at the wish book, because I remember vividly this cover having this in 1984. So this would have been. So I know it's early in '84. I should probably be doing this around Christmas time. It would make more sense. But let's just look at it just because it's on my mind at the moment. And we're going to look at the toys, and we're going to look at things that I wanted as a kid. I know it sounds like the manifesto of a crazy person, but I'm just saying, we'll show the things that, and show kind of like the things around the house, things that we had and didn't have back then. Remember, at this time, my parents are divorced. This is the last year my dad pretty much lives in the family house until they sell the house and he moves out. My parents are divorced, I think legally by this time, or close to it. Their divorce took forever. It lasted from like 81 to like 85 until they finally finalized the divorce, and they finally ended up selling the house. So at this time, it'd be 1984, my mom would be living in this tiny little one-bedroom apartment house thing downtown Rochester. That house is gone. The house that I'm talking about, my dad was living in at the time, the family house over on Winry in the north, the Avon, North Hill subdivision. That house is pretty much gone. They remodeled the entire thing, made it a giant mansion. So at the time, it was like a 3-bedroom ranch. So, and it's funny because we'll show how much a three-bedroom ranch would have cost back then as well. But okay, so let's dive into the wish book. So that's where we're at. That's where we're at with me. Christmas would have been 6th grade. My son just had his 6th grade Christmas. So, just this last year in 2023. So this would have been Christmas of a 1984. I would be 11 by now because my birthday would be in the summer. And I would be in Christmas in 6th grade. And so essentially my son's age right now. And like I said, Dad still lives in the family house. Mom lives in this tiny apartment. My sister she would be starting her sophomore year at University of Michigan. So that's just where the family was at that time. So let's go into the wish book. I think that was at That's a Lancer, Dodge Lancer. I can't remember what the Ford, or it had a, not Ford, they had a Plymouth version of this, or whatever. They had a bunch of these kind of cars. Well, anyways, I'm not going to go through dwell on every page, but I just want to go to like some of the main things. We'll skip all the Christmas decorations. We'll skip the pleated action slacks. Listen, my dad at the time would have been, he would have been 40. Yeah, because his birthday was in August. So my dad would have been 41 at the time. My dad would essentially be almost 10 years younger than I am now. And these guys, so my dad would be even older than these guys. It was kind of weird. Because these guys are probably, I would say, probably in their early 30s. Maybe late 20s, early 30s. And we can skip all the, the junk that was around the house that, we would have had. I'll stop on some things of note that I think are cool. It's funny, just a lot of things that at that time, I remember, we didn't have. Like, I don't remember using a barbecue, like this, like a gas barbecue, until like the 90s. Because my dad was always on the go. After they sold the house, he went bop from apartment to apartment, so he never had use for a grill. My mom never grilled out. Nobody really grilled that I knew of really grilled. I mean, neighbors did, and I just thought it was weird. I was like, oh, I got a grill? That's rich people stuff. What's really crazy is when we get to the, what do you call it? Like the microwaves and stuff. But we'll still be going through here. They always did this. I didn't like this. They put like a teaser of things in the front of the book where I think they put... Okay, I think this is how... Yeah, I think they had all the toys and stuff in the beginning of the book. We'll get through most of the kids' stuff because I would have grown out of most of this stuff by now. However, I didn't really grow out of this stuff by now because I was kind of still obsessed with a lot of this stuff. It's a strange contrast between my son at his age now and my age then. Just like what, I said, we spent this weekend playing Fortnite a lot. Again, my son got back into Fortnite. And playing guitar, and, he doesn't, he looks at the toys and stuff around, and he kind of likes the stuff, but he's like, because kids don't play with toys anymore. This is something from my generation. A lot of this stuff we can kind of skip over. I'm curious to see it. I did have a microscope in, it was 81. Christmas of 81. I kind of talked about that in my one video on Dungeons and Dragons. I always wanted one of these drum sets. I guess I could have played at the house, but I know it couldn't have worked at my mom's apartment. And then wherever my dad ended up living, it probably ended up somewhere at my grandma's house, and she wouldn't have tolerated it either. I'll get into the football stuff, because that was also then. Garfield was huge. In '84, Garfield was huge. Garfield pencils, Garfield erasers. I mean, I can still taste a Garfield eraser in my mouth now from just chewing on Garfield erasers as a kid. Remember, I ate a lot of things and smelled a lot of things. And I'm surprised I'm not dead. But, yeah, a lot of this stuff I would just gloss. Even myself as a kid, I would just gloss over. But, it's funny, it's just like toy boxes and things that just seemed like they were in every normal kid's house. We didn't have any of this stuff, really, once the parents got divorced. It was all just... It was pretty rough. Cameras. Oh, here's the thing that's crazy. I would go through this section as a young kid, and I would be just mesmerized. It's like, oh, I want a camera. These are film cameras too, not digital cameras. I want a film camera. I want a camcorder and stuff. Look at the prices on this stuff. Like, this is number 5. So this is the lightweight color video camcorder. I don't even know who the company is. I'm sure it's like Sears. It's not even Sony. Okay, they brought it down from $889 to $789. Now just think about that for a minute. You got, a phone you could buy. I bought this phone for like $200. It was normally like $250. You know, I had the upgrade, so I got it, or $279, so I got it for like $200 upgrade. It's $200. Got a crazy camera on it, right? And video camera. And as you can see, I'm recording now on the device. This little Logitech thing, I think it was like $100 for this Logitech Brio that I'm recording on. Okay, so look at how much that would have cost. Let's go to where I pulled up some, not the cost of living. I got a calculator up here. Okay, here we go. Here's an inflation calculator. So 1984 to 2024, right? Let's just say we got it at the deal. We got it at the deal price of $7.99, right? How much is that in today's money? Is it going to give me the price? Calculate. Where's the price? What? Okay, wait, what's going on here? I just had this working a couple minutes ago. Do they give you just a percentage? We can just increase it by the percentage here. Why is it not giving me the calculate? Am I doing something wrong here? Sorry, this was working 2 seconds ago. Now all of a sudden it would show up right here. Let's just let's go back again. Let's say $1 then was $2. Let's say it's 3 times. Let's say it's $3, 3 times as much. So that's just an easy. Let's just pull up a camera. I know we should be able to do this. So let's say $800 times 3. Okay, that camcorder in today's money would cost $2,400. That's just insane to think about. I mean, and then a VCR, right? This is the double VCR that they had that would go that really only really rich people had this thing, the double VCR. $800, basically $800 too. Yeah, so you're looking at $5,000 in today's money to have a camcorder VCR combo. Basically the pinnacle at the time of things to have, as far as that type of as camcorders and stuff go for doing video. I mean, yeah, nobody's gonna afford that. I mean, here, I'll show you something else crazy. A Chevette. My dad ended up getting a Chevette because the AMC Eagle finally crapped out, and I think my dad paid less than that because he bought it it was like a few months old. He bought it from the car rental place. I don't know why, but anyways, so let's just say my dad spent like $5,000, right? Same price. So the price of a car, a relatively new car at the time, not a great car. My Chevette's a piece of shit, but anyways, it's still a car. Would have cost the same amount. That's insane to think about. So $5,000 today's money would have been a car back then. So you got to think, well, what's that then? So price of that car though at $5,000 should only be $15,000. I guess you can buy a compact car that's a few months old. Let's say it's a year old. For about $15,000, maybe if you're lucky. You're talking more like $18,000 to $20,000 today. So yeah, I mean, your parents are gonna go out and buy a camcorder. At least mine weren't back then. Let's see. Oh, here, a Ford Mustang, $13,000. Okay, by today's standards, I'd say it's probably about right. That's probably what 36, almost $40,000 for a Mustang nowadays. Mustang convertible, it's probably close. It's probably more like $45,000. Grand Prix, that's about $18,000 today's money. So you see where I'm going with this, right? Here's the other thing that's crazy. Okay, now we're on. Let's get this stuff out of the way just so I can show you. So this is Washington State. I live in Michigan, but it's pretty much close. This is what they consider the threshold, basically between poverty and lower class. In 1984, is a household bringing in $862. Oh, sorry, monthly fees of $862. So you figure. Let's say you brought in, let's say that's that's for a family of 4 too. It's 2 adults, 2 kids, right? Let's say it's $900, right? Let's say your parents brought in $1,200. Right, you could save $400 for whatever the family trips, put into saving, college funds, whatever. blah blah blah. Or you need. I don't think that they haven't really compensated for a car here. $35 a month for car. That's if you already own the car. Sure, maybe that's just maintenance and gas right on a car. Yeah, $35 a month. Okay, I'll buy that. That means you already own the car. So this is not even including a car payment. But if a car back then was $5,000, $6,000, I'm sure the car payments were pretty low, probably under $100. So maybe let's just with insurance, let's just tack on like $150 to that. So we'll bring that 860. Let's just say a cool 1,000, right? That's what your costs are. Yeah, I could see that back then. But you got to think $1,000, right? And then a VCR is pretty much. A VCR, a camcorder would have been the entire month's, salary. Let's say you take home $3,000 now today a month, or $4,000 now a month. Oh, let's go to $5,000 a month. Oh, did I say that with the two? Yeah. So you see where I'm going. I mean, it's, I don't make $5,000 a month. I'd like to make $3,000 a month. I don't even make that. So yeah, let's go back here. So we'll keep flipping through the old Wishbook here. A push button phone instead of the that's an answer. Oh, forget about it. That's rich people stuff. An answering machine, a cordless phone, an answering machine in your house. That's crazy talk. That's that's totally rich people stuff. Okay, a transistor radio, sure. I know there's the Walkman should be in here. And then there's the jam boxes. So that's I kind of had this kind of set up. I remember those red ones. I had this kind of set up here, and I had a Walkman. So I did have a couple of luxury items, I guess, at the time. So what would this jam box go for then? Cassette recorder, because I just had the single tape deck. I didn't have the double tape deck. And my mom had one of these jabberdoos, almost this exact looking thing here. Where are we at? Number 5. Number 5 is $40 for that, and this one at number 1 was $30. Oh, it was almost $30 for the Walkman. And something like this. Oh, sorry, no, this was $40. Am I looking at the right? Maybe this is on the other page. Oh, no, I see how they got it here. Okay, so this top page, maybe? It looks like everything's around $40. $40 for this, $40 for this, about $30 for this. So that's how much those things were cost. That was a lot of money back then. I mean, think about it. Well, $40 back then would have been like $120 today. You could buy something like this for $120. Oh no, that was like $90, something like this. You could probably buy something like that today. This dealio too. That's what we had. Not this specific one, but like I said, I had something like this. This would have been a double tape deck, equalizer, turntable, receiver with records underneath. I mean, obviously you can see you got something like that over there. But with these giant ass speakers here, oh my gosh, that would have been awesome back then. We didn't have anything like that. Yeah, even just this dealio for $279. You're talking almost $1,000 in today's money, which is probably what this would cost. Those speakers, if you bought those speakers now, you're talking $250 for them speakers. This thing here is probably about $100. Turntable, $150. Receiver, $200. An equalizer. Yeah, you're talking probably $1,000 today for this type of setup. I mean, mine isn't as crazy as that because I don't have a cassette player, nor do I have an equalizer, and my speakers are smaller, which are over here. It was like $500. To put that thing together, so it kind of makes sense. I love the martial arts pajamas, or those actual gis. I can't tell. I think they're pajamas. It's just funny looking at these girls and stuff. They look so old back then as a kid. Like these old women, these old 28-year-old women and this 28-year-old guy. Almost half my age, a little more than half my age. They might even have been 25 back when these photos were taken. They just look so old to me. I guess I'm old. I guess that's what it comes down to. I will get oh, there we go. Now we're talking 1984. You get the kanji, the martial arts slash aerobics craze. Oh yeah, all that stuff's good stuff. Um, this is where the what do you call it, the shoulder pads started to creep up. Get Dad them socks. Get him those Argyle socks. Um, Sorry, I'm taking a lot of time. I'm trying to get to the good stuff, the toys. Who cares about all this adult crap? Vacuum cleaner. $200 for a Kenmore vacuum cleaner. Seems kind of steep. Here we go. Microwave. Microwave goes over your oven. Nearly $500. That's insane. I know the tap-ins and stuff. We got our first. We would have had our first microwave at this time, and it was a tap-in with like this giant glass thing in it, and it was huge. And I think my mom got it on a really good deal, but it was still like $150 back then, probably more. All the coffee makers, all that kind of bananas. Okay, are we starting to get into okay, these are the little kid toys. Let's get into the good stuff. Remember, this is 1984. Okay, got some space Legos. We got the Erector set. I got the Erector set that Christmas too. That specific set right there, set 725. Had that set. How much did that thing cost? $22. $65. I don't think my dad paid $65 for that. I think my dad paid more, something like. I think we got it, found it on a deal. He probably paid like $40 for it. I had this Castle Lego set, but not in '84. I got this later. I think I got this in '85 or '86. I got the Castle Legos. Actually, I don't think it was the big one. It was the second one here, number 2. Those are $27.99. There's the space Legos. Legos are still there. How much was 6? $44 for the big set. Yeah, those Legos are crazy expensive. I mean, it's twice the price of a play set. A unicycle, a pogo stick, just stilts. How many things? I always loved this thing, this trampoline thing. How many things can kids kill themselves on back in the day? A lot of things. Those are tiny little BMX bikes. Oh, the G.I. Joe camouflage tent. Now that was something back in the day. A neighbor had that. I remember that. There's the Knight Rider big wheel. I was too old for big wheels, obviously, at that time. I was into BMX bikes. I wanted actually a year later I wanted the real 3-wheeler. Some radio control cars. I remember that crazy looking thing. Yeah. Is that the oh, those are like the Tyco versions. Those are like the knockoffs of the Tamiya cars there. I had this once as a kid. It was from a garage sale, and I didn't really like it that much. Stompers. So yeah, this well, more 5th grade for me, but Stompers are still big. Jason Malinowski and the Stompers. Had that set. I remember when they came with the water. Oh, here you go, the Water Demons. This is number 8. I should say Water Demons. Number 8. Yep, Water Demons and trailer. I had that green Water Demon right there. That was pretty cool. I had this like way after the fact, like not in '84. I probably had this like in '82. This I think came out in like '80 or '81. I had this little after the fact. Never had the Michael Knight in the car. Wanted it, never got it. Never had the A-Team van. Wanted it, never got it. I had the G.I. Joe set. I don't think they showed it. No, wait a minute. That's the train set. I didn't have the train set. I had the set here, the car set, which is basically just the USA one, just label swapped. Okay, so here we go. Remember we're talking. I already did my video on toys turning 40 years old this year. So here would have been Superpowers. Here would have been Secret Wars. Secret Wars comic facsimile number 1 comes out tomorrow, by the way. Just putting that out there. Anyways, which is 40-year anniversary from when it came out back in 1984, the same year I got into comics. Sorry. Up top here, I had everything except for I never got the super. Maybe I did. I don't think I got it, but I think I actually did. I had everything up here. Well, what was that playset going for back in the day? It would have been number one. $25. Yep, that's what the price of an average playset back then was. $25. The Batmobile, how much was that? I'm just curious. $17.99. I think I got it for $15.99 then. And then the average figure should have been $4.99. They've got them at $3.99. Yeah, the catalog. They were like $1 cheaper if you got them through the Christmas catalog. But if you bought them like at Kittyland or Kmart or bought them at Sears in the store, I don't know about that, to tell you the truth. They might have been $1 cheaper in store at Sears. This is when Sears actually had a toy department. And maybe they were, because I remember, I don't know if I told you the story in that video about the 84 stuff, getting that guy at Sears that day. And maybe they were $3.99. I thought they were $4.99. I know they were $4.99 at Kmart, because remember, and Kittyland had them for $4.99. KB had them for $4.99. And then, of course, these guys, the same thing, $3.99, but they were $4.99 most places. I didn't have. All I had was the I had almost all of the figures, and I read that. But I did have that roller thing. They don't show it here. The Doom roller. The GoBots. I always wanted this. I wanted this. I had Leader 1 and I had Psych Hill, like the small ones. That's all I really had for the GoBots. I remember this crazy thing. You stabbed it and it would come after you, and when it reared up, you'd hit this little red button and it would shut the thing down. It was like the kill switch. I wanted these, especially these larger, oversized ones like this one. I wanted those. Never got them. Because 84, it's Transformers came out, and this was the year. This was the Christmas that I keep talking about, where you could not get them. They were so hard to find. I guess if your parents had jumped in now and ordered, through the Sears catalog, and had ordered, because these Christmas books I think came out right around in the first of the year, maybe February. If your parents jumped on it and got you, Optimus and 2 of the Jets, Megatron, Soundwave, got you some of the Autobots. Let's say you picked up all of this right now and you got it early, and that was sent to your house, a couple of weeks to deliver, and then your parents hid it away somewhere on you. You're talking, Optimus was going for what? Optimus was $22.99. He was almost the price of a playset. He was expensive. Soundwave, that's one I wonder about Soundwave. What did he go for? What is he, number 14? He's $15.99. He was pricey. And I did get Soundwave that Christmas, because my dad sort of jumped in early. I think it was more the spring, I think, is when we started seeing these. So my dad did jump a little early on that. This is also the year, like I was saying, when the Toys R Us opened at Lakeside Mall, which was a new thing. And I got the set of tapes. Yeah, I mean, just the average Autobot was what? Say, number 11, Sideswipe, one of my favorites. $10. Yeah, that seems about right. They were pricey. I mean, they're obviously pricier than buying an action figure. Megatron was probably close to $20, most likely. $22.99 for Meg. So it looks like $22.99 for Optimus, $22.99 for Megatron. The Jets would be $12.99 for the Jets. That sounds about right. Yeah, if you were to buy them today, like you bought, well, maybe not today, but if, like the Starscream I've got over there, he was $30. That makes sense. Like I said, it is mind-boggling to think of how expensive toys are nowadays. I mean, $35 for Morduk. I mean, that's about the size of its head. It seems like they're a little more involved in that. But, yeah, I guess that's what things cost. Things were expensive back then. But, again, we're going back to, talking about prices and stuff and how much people made. At this time in 1984, like I said, my dad would have probably been in. This is why I got a lot of stuff too this Christmas too. My dad's was full swing in on. He got his disability insurance benefits, his long-term disability insurance from Crittenden Hospital, and he also, because he went on disability and didn't work, and he also got Social Security at that time, and he collected Social Security on my sister, and then my mom collected Social Security on me, so he got like an $800 bump in his Social Security. He probably made $1,200 on his Social Security then. So you're talking, you know, 2,000 plus his long-term disability. I think he got like 1,500 or something like that, or 1,200. So he was making like $3,000 then. So the average, you know, I think they say the average wages here. Let me look at this. 1984. This is for the U.S. The average income was $15,000 a month. So you got to think. Let's use our handy dandy calculator. So 15,000 divided by oops, I did this wrong. Come on, stop. 15,000 divided by 12 months. 1,250 was the average U.S. household income. My dad probably made twice that, if not almost 3 times as much as that. Not for very long, though, but he made that for a few years. So at the time, my dad had money coming out of his ears, and my mom, on the flip side of it, my mom probably made $5 an hour, and let's just say she worked 40 hours a week. She made $200 a week times 4. Oops, times 4. So she probably made $800 to $1,000 a month. Maybe not 1,000, but 800 or so, and then she got 800 for my sister for Social Security. I don't know. I mean, I guess, you know what? It seems like my parents had money back then, but it did seem like we were poor all the time. So we were making, you know, more money than the average person. Because what I say, what was $15,000 divided by 12 again? About that's what my mom was making, just a little bit around, probably around the average price. My dad was making well over that, but like I said, that didn't last for very long. So in the 80s, right about the time, I guess we were flush with cash. It seems like now that if I'm looking at things right. But again, you weren't going out and buying. You weren't going out and buying a camcorder and VCR. I mean, like I said, we got a microwave. You know, we got a VCR. These were new things in '84. And my dad's first VCR he bought from his buddy used. I don't even think he even paid for it. I think I just gave it to him. There was a weird thing going on there. Anyways, but you know, I remember buying the first new one, and it was probably like $300 back then. Here we go, G.I. Joe. I remember this. I remember this year vividly. Yep, the water moccasin. I remember getting the water moccasin. I always wanted the whale, never got the whale. I wanted it. I had the water moccasin. I had pretty much everything you see here except the whale. And I had Zartan. I remember getting him in 6th grade. That's the thing is, you didn't want the kids to know that you were getting this stuff, although all the other kids were getting this stuff too. So it was this weird kind of dichotomy where it's just like you're trying to be cool, and you're trying to, you know, be hip. You're into cool music, and you're this, you know, this mature kid. At the same time, you had all these toys that you're still drooling over, and most kids did, but nobody liked to talk about it. It was kind of hush hush because they didn't want to look not cool. And you know, when you're in 6th grade, I had the Vamp. Didn't have the whatever that's called, the laser thing, the HAL. I didn't have the bridge layer. Out over here, never had the Rancor. Did have the Jabba's play set. You probably heard. I told you the story about that. I had not this specific gift set, but I had the gift set prior to this from '83. The one with Klaatu, Barata, and 88, I think. I always wanted this. My buddy had this. I never got this. I did have this, and I remember dropping this out of a bag on the way over to my friend's house on my bike, and all of these parts just went flying everywhere across the street, and the car was coming. It was a mess. Never got the Interceptor. Wanted the Interceptor. Had lots of. I had that one too. I had the speeder bike, obviously. Never got that. Got the B-wing. I had one of these, but way after the fact. And like I said, I had most. This is the second series. I didn't have them all. So that was that first series. It's funny, they sell them as a set that actually came with that other old Droid Factory platform thing. I did have Wicket. I did have, I think that's Tebow. I think I had Tebow. Yeah. I never had I had the thing, but I never had the pilot. I didn't have the Rancor Keeper. Did have Prune Face. Had all three of these guys. All of that I had. All of this I have, although I don't think I had the AT-AT Commander guy, which I guess was just General Veers. Here's some Joe stuff. Okay, so Joe stuff. This is pretty much the bulk of the Joe stuff. So, had a Sky Striker, had the Rattler, had the playset, had the Stinger, had I think I was on my second hiss by now, just like I have two hisses sitting over there. Had the Dragonfly. I think this was before I painted it blue to make it look like Blue Thunder. I don't know why I did that. Had all those guys. Denver had this, I think it's the Mobat, or not the Mobat, the Brawler. I can't remember. I never had this. I did have this. I blew this up with fireworks. I remember that in the backyard. Probably like the next year. Or no, I think it might. I had it before Christmas. I think it was that same. I think it was that same summer I blew that up in the backyard. He-Man. So there's my He-Man stuff. There's Snake Mountain right next, sitting right literally next to the camera right here. You can't see it, but I had Snake. So I had everything. Like I said, I had everything for Masters of the Universe except for that. I never had that Dragon Walker. That was the only thing I never had. And if it comes out, I'll buy it. But just to stay in line with the 1984, because 1984 was the last year I collected He-Man. So I had all these guys. They're all sitting right there. The Black Star stuff. I started to get into Black Star. I didn't get a lot of it though. I had Black Star. I had the main bad guy, which I can't remember what his name was. I had the Black Star's dragon. And I had a couple of the bad guys I don't show here. I wanted the castle, never got it. There was a balloon too for like the little like dwarf guys. I never got that either. But there was Black Star. How much is the Black Star castle? It's probably $20, I'm thinking. Ice Castle, $22.99. There you go. Okay, how much was now here's a good example. This is a good example of correct pricing. So here we go. Number 9, Snake Mountain. Whoa. Really? Was that expensive at the time? Well, Castle Grayskull was $27.99 in 1984. Snake Mountain was $42.99 in 1984. Now then I got a steal because I paid $79.99 for this and I paid $79.99 for that. So that is correct-ish. About that would be right. And I think you can still get it for around $70 on Amazon. So Castle Grayskull makes sense. It's with inflation. That actually is a good deal because that would have cost today over $100, but they kept the what do you call it? The Snake Mountain under $100. That's pretty impressive. Let's see how much were the figures going for. This is 84. So last year I bought them for $5. $5. So when I got them, they were $15. Now they're $20 a piece. So they've gone up a little bit in price. Well, they've gone up a lot in price. But anyways, that still sort of makes sense with inflation. So all of that stuff kind of makes sense. I think that stuff's pretty much spot on. Now G.I. Joe, on the other hand, you get the reaction's going to come out with these, and even the Hasbro had to try to do the O-rings, selling for $20 a piece. Come on, guys, they were how much a piece? I don't even think you can buy them separately here, but I know they were. All action figures that were not He-Man size were $2.99, and I guess they show the other ones at $3.99 a piece, so that's pretty interesting there. I wanted one specifically this year, and I wanted the two sets. I wanted to get my sets because I wanted so 84. Is this the year? yeah, because then 85 was the Super Bowl shuffle. So this is the year the Bears were winning. And with McMahon and Refrigerator Perry and Walter Payton. I wanted the Bear set, and I think my friend wanted the New England set so we could do a matchup. But that would have been after the fact. I don't, at this time specifically, I wanted the set. I didn't get it. I got one of these like a year later. But I wanted the Bears, and I think I wanted like the Bears and the Lions, or maybe the Seahawks. I didn't get into the Seahawks until like 86. And then the Rams I got into 86 because of Kurt Warner and Eric Dickerson. But I was all about Walter Payton. He was like my favorite player back in 84. Everybody was kind of a McMahon guy. I always think McMahon was kind of a douche, but I like Walter Payton just because he's just so crazy fast, and you do that Walter Payton hop thing as he's coming into the end zone for a touchdown. This is all pre-Barry Sanders, by the way. Sorry, I'm getting sportsy on you. I'm just looking at some of this stuff. I'm looking for... Oh, I had definitely had Crossbows and Catapults. Got that for this Christmas as well. Crossbows and Catapults. I wasn't huge on the games. I loved my Dark Tower, but I wasn't huge on a lot of the board games. Okay. Oh, there you go. Oh my God. Oh, I'm sorry. So Dungeons and Dragons. At this time, it was 1984. I was still into D&D. I probably got the... I think I did get the companion set. I know it was snowing out. When I was up at Meadowbrook Mall. I already had this because I got this the previous year. Now this was the 83 version of the 1981 box set, but I had the 81 box set as well. I just remember that puzzle used to be at the B. Dalton bookstore all the time. But yeah, the Endless Quest books, which I still need to try to find some time, and then they started coming out with the newer versions of the main core books. I already had... Actually, so take it back. I had the Player's Handbook, and I had the Monster Manual. I didn't get this Monster Manual, but I did get Monster Manual 2 in this specific one. This year, by the way. And then I got the Dungeon Master's Guide finally, and I got this one. So I had the old Player's Handbook, the old Monster Manual, the newer Dungeon Master's Guide, and the... I love how they put all the core books right there. And this is all you really needed outside of the modules. The core books... If you wanted to go basic, you could do the basic. You had the Endless Quest. You get some sets. I'm just curious how much these books were a piece. $8.99. That's right. Yep. I remember they were $8.99. I think you could get them somewhere. I had them for $7.99. I remember around, say, like $1 cheaper. But yeah, I ended up having them. And I told my whole story. If you go back and watch my Dungeons and Dragons story, I told my whole story with, when I first got into that back in 81. This would have been a year after we got the ColecoVision. So, the Coleco Gemini, I don't even remember that thing. And we never had an Atari. What was that? That's the Atari 5200. Yeah, we never had that. You got the ColecoVision in here? Yeah, there it is. Okay. So, so how much were they? Oh, it was a $200 price cut. Well, how much was it, though? The main set, number 1. ColecoVision. Wow. Wow. That's amazing. So how much do you think it was? Well, you can see how much it is. It was $109. That's a lot of money back then, but that was cheaper than what I thought. So it must have been the previous year when we got it. It must have been $150 we got it for. But I swear that the Camelot Records had it for over $200. Way overpriced. But there's ColecoVision. There was the wheel. Never got the wheel. Never got the ball. This was this was neat. This was like it was an expansion. You could play Atari tapes, Atari cartridges, if you put them in there. You could play Atari games on there. I thought that was weird. I never had that. Of course, this was also... I don't know why they put them on this page, but that was the big year of the Cabbage Patch Kid. That looks sweet, whatever that is. I remember seeing that in the catalog. I just didn't know what it was. It was Odyssey. Was it... oh, God, not Odyssey. The hell is the name of that game? That is the Odyssey. was it Phantasy Star, or it was this like D&D-esque game, and the game came with like a map, like a cloth map, and all this stuff that you needed to kind of keep track in the game. It was in this box. I remember that. That was so cool as a kid. I never had it. I wanted it. I think my buddy had the Odyssey. I don't remember the Odyssey having this big thing on top, but I guess it did. All right, so what do we got in time? Oh, 45 minutes. We're getting there. I'm looking for a couple of things I want to point out that are in here as we go. We kind of went through the toys. Oh, look at that. Look at that. A headless... I'm sure those are knockoffs of... there's a knockoff Les... How much is this knockoff Les Paul? That's what I want to know. $150. So this is more money in 1984 than I paid for my Leo James. And I bet you my Leo James just blows this thing out of the water as far as being a knockoff Les Paul. Isn't that crazy? Amplifiers. How much are the amplifiers? It's a 10 watt. 10 watt was $100 for a bass amplifier. Sorry, is that the guitar? Which one's the guitar? There was 120 for the bass amplifier. This is a 20 watt. And this is there's a 12.5 watt. Yeah. So these are smaller than the amplifiers I got, and they're about the same price as we. So that's what I'm trying to say about music equipment. Is people, you know, it's like with inflation, the music stuff, sure, yeah, real Gibson Les Paul is $3,000. That's gone up way crazy in price. But this type of stuff, the average person who bought the knockoff crap or the less expensive guitars, like beginner guitars and stuff like that, I mean, these things were expensive back then, but nowadays they're dirt cheap. I mean, they are literally dirt cheap. You can, I mean, even a good, like my orange amplifier is $200. It's a 20 watt. You know, my Fender Rumble, it was 120, and it's a 25 watt. It's bigger than this thing, and it was about the same price. So what I'm saying is that stuff has not gone up in price since it eventually came out, and it's better stuff now. You know, you either get more name brand or you get better knockoffs, and it's just, you can't compete with the, I mean, the price of stuff nowadays is totally realistic. Yeah, these, is it number one over there? Okay, over here. Wow. Okay, they're made by Cort. So I know the company Cort. So Cort has basically a Steinberger knockoffs of the guitar and the bass. These are $279 a piece. These are expensive back then. And that'd be like $900 today. You can get a real Steinberger bass, a Steinberger Spirit for $399. You can get a real guitar for $399 right now at Guitar Center. So again, the stuff was cheaper now than it is then. That's just interesting. Here's a full drum set. Full drum set's going to set you back $300 for some knockoff, probably Sonar or something. You could get a full 5-piece drum set nowadays for about the same price, maybe $100 more, for like a Tama, you know, or maybe not a Pearl or a Ludwig. Those might be closer to $1,000, but you could definitely get a drum set for about the same price. I had this thing. I had this exact thing here. Casio keyboard, $100. You can get, my son bought his Yamaha keyboard, I think for $120 at Guitar Center, and like last year. So stuff has not gone up crazy. Here we go. Commodore 64, $100 for that Commodore 64. There it is. There's the tape drive. There's the printer. I got a question about the printer. So number 4, $350 for a dot matrix printer. I paid for that Brother color scanner printer combo. I paid in 2013, 11 years ago, I paid $99. You can buy the same exact printer today for $99. A dot matrix black and white printer back then. This is why people didn't have computers. I mean, you could have bought this and then the tape drive. How much was the tape drive? $75. So you're $175 in deep for, if you want the disk drive. Ooh, a disk drive, that's got to be pricey. $279. So see what I mean? This is like, oh wow, we can get the Commodore 64 for $100. Oh yeah, well how do you save your information? You need a disk drive. Well, how much are those? $279. So now we're up to $479. Throw on another $350 for a printer, and you're looking at $800 without even the rest of the peripherals for a computer then, which is, you know, can barely do anything. And to look at that in today's money. Here we go. $214. It was a price cut. $214 for a 19-inch color television set, which is pretty much what everybody had back then. If you had a 24-inch, you were rich people. But most people had the 19-inch color television set. Like I said, we had to replace ours too the previous year. I remember a lot of people had this type of, with these little push buttons. Ours was weird. My dad, it was quite a weird one, but it was kind of cool, but it was also weird. But yeah, look how much these televisions are for a 19-inch. That's a 32-inch flat screen Samsung. It's not a smart TV because this is an older one here. This is the one I got from my mom's basement. But I think my sister bought it for my mom for Christmas, like back in like 2015, and it was like $150. You could buy, and we bought my son one in 2020 Christmas. We bought him one for like $125, which was a smart television. But you can probably get a smart TV now, 32-inch or 40-inch for $150. This is a color television set at almost $400 back then. I know my dad didn't pay $400 for it. I think my dad paid $250 for that one at Highland Appliance. Again, would have loved to have something like this. You know, even the double tape deck would have been cool. So we're getting into some of this type of stuff, which I want to bring. What is that? Got the built-in speaker, Les Paul for $100. It's obviously it's a knockoff, but like I said, this is the type of stuff you'd get for $100 back then. Not today. You get real stuff for $100 today. Where are we at on time? 52 minutes. Okay, we're heading. I had this little transformer watch. There's those jerseys, yeah, those football jerseys. I had my Chicago Bear one, which is funny because in 1987, what's his face? Fred Savage in Princess Bride, he's wearing the Chicago Bears jersey in the movie. It's like, hey, I have the jersey. Here we go. Here are more of the 25 and 28-year-old girls that look like they're 80, or not 80, look like they're in their 40s then, but seem to me to be kids now. Oh, getting the lingerie section. Sorry, no, the nighties and stuff like that. Blah, blah, blah. Trying to stay focused here. Jewelry, watches. Get some Casio watches. Well, I'm just going to see. Do they have the... Where's the... Oh, I just passed it. The calculator watch. There we go. Calculator watch. What one of those set you back? $30. Not a lot. What's this more advanced one? Number 2, haven't sent you back. This one's cheaper than this one. This one's more expensive. Number 1 is, but $20 for a calculator. What price of a less than the price of a Castle Grayskull could have got you a calculator watch back in the day. Oh, here's a cheap calculator watch. What are they going for here? Not $10. I had a Casio watch, sort of like this. I also had that Transformer watch. Oh, actually, what is the brand? None that. That looks very similar to the watch I used to have. So that one looks similar to it too. And they all kind of look the same. Jewelry boxes, manicure sets, with the Old Spice set. Oh, I have to get the Old Spice set. $8.99 for the Old Spice set. It's probably $20 today. Get the Axe version of it, or if they still have the Old Spice. Clothing, blah blah blah. Oh, Garfield slippers. Sorry, I'm trying to get to the... Usually at the end of the book they have like a couple of cool things, but maybe not in this one. Let me skip ahead here. Now that we're kind of getting down to the wire here. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, we're going to get into some of the electronics. Oh hey, there's the Max. Oh yeah, see here. It's weird. It's like they would put like... There's some and get a Huffy, or a Murray BMX bike, which are not terrible bikes. I mean, for how much was it? Oh, here we go. The prices? I can't. It doesn't say the prices of the bikes. Maybe on the other page. Right on the other page. That doesn't even say. But yeah, you could probably pick up one of these bikes for under $100 back then. I remember this one specifically with those golder rims. But I had the nice ones for a little bit more than that. Like again, Dad must have been flush with cash that year. It's probably, like I said, it's a very... see, my dad's TV was kind of like more like this, but it was all black. It had this weird kind of push button thing you had to dial in. Oh, there it is. Marty McFly special, the JVC camcorder. What do those set you back? That'll just set you back $1,600 for that thing. $10 for a blank cassette. Then you get a reel-to-reel there. Now you're talking real film. How much was a real film camera? $129. That seems like a lot better to shoot on film. To make your family movies. Well, there's the VCR. So we didn't have that specific. Actually, our VHS looked more like this one, but our first one was like this with the top loader. Yeah, that's about. I think my dad paid like $300 for the newer one, and this one I think, like I said, I think his buddy gave it to him or something like that. He's probably going into prison. Needed to keep his stuff somewhere safe. Yeah, I just love them. There's your Walkman. Well, we had the Sony. I did have one of those tape recorders at one time. There's the jam boxes. Like I said, I had the single. Double would have been cool. Because I could have made some tape-to-tape copies. I still made mixtapes, but I had to make them off of the radio or off of records. Jewelry, blah, blah, blah. It's just like I was a kid. Blah, blah, blah. I just skip over the blah, blah, blah. Oh, get some He-Man and Skeletor slippers there. Some genuine leather cowboy boots. Genuine leather. Come on. Let's speed things up. Come on, let's red some red lights here with the Ghostbusters. My 1984 reference. Yeah, that would have been the year that Ghostbusters came out. Oh, gotta get the Karate Gi pajamas. Oh, yeah. Karate Champ at the Sleep. I don't think there's much coming up here, but usually, sometimes at the end of the book, they have like a couple of cool pages of some neat things. Not any Joe Eater gems here. Okay, so here we go. Sometimes they had like an all G.I. Joe page towards the back, like an all Star Wars page. Usually the sleeping bags, backpacks. I guess it's all back to school stuff. You know what I never came across was those comic book and collecting. Unless it's back here. Oh, it might be. Let's see. Like I said, this is why you never want to skip the back here. That's baby stuff, or like little kids stuff. Rainbow Bright. Oh yeah, those things. Viewmasters and that crazy thing. Speak and Spell. Glowworms. Maybe this is where the console televisions. Woo, those console televisions are expensive. I guess that is the back of the book. Okay. Alright, so you guys went through it. You spent an hour with me going through the 1984 Sears Wishbook, or Christmas catalog as we used to call it. I don't think we ever called it the Wishbook back then. Even that's technically what it was called. Yeah, I guess, you know what? It's funny. I was going into this video expecting to tear it up as far as pricing and stuff. But you know what? I guess at the end of the day, the stuff that's out nowadays, you know, like a new version of Snake Mountain, a new version of Castle Grayskull, they're about what they should cost. You know, if they got more expensive, but I mean, obviously the years are going up, and inflation's going up because inflation's going through the roof. But I mean, even still, I guess when you think about it, you know, look at electronics though. I mean, you can get electronics dirt cheap. I mean, like I said, you could add up every television. Well, all two of them, all two televisions in this house was like purchased at like what, $550. Look at that, 679. I can't see because I turned it off, but $679 for a 19-inch console television, or is it a 23? 25-inch console television, $679. You know, that would have been well over $1,000 in today's money. So obviously, I'm not gonna. I'd like to have a console. I just like the looks of console televisions, but the flat screen obviously is better. So yeah. Here you go. Here's a large screen projection TV for $1,579 for the large screen projection. Now that was something the rich kid people had. And again, you know, these catalogs essentially were what Amazon is today. So if you're buying off Amazon, it's kind of like looking through these catalogs. Of course, just a lot more stuff. But, you know, I guess the electronics back then, crazy expensive. Electronics today, relatively cheap. You know, you can get pretty much everything. Even a computer you can get relatively cheap. I mean, $800 for this computer I bought, it's going on now 6 years ago. That would have cost back then for something that's not even anywhere near that, would have cost $800, right? Now, sure, I had to buy the monitor and the printer and peripherals and stuff, but you know what I'm saying is, computers are cheap, TVs are cheap, you know, these things are cheap, record players are cheap, stereos are cheap. I mean, in comparison, guitars are cheap. Everything is cheap nowadays in comparison, but it just seems like everything's gone and I just bitch and complain about how astronomically expensive things are, but I guess if you think about it, they're really kind of right on point. Now, I'm not, again, $55 for a 7-inch action figure is a bit steep. $35 for a 7-inch action figure. Now you got to think of what, let's just say one of these NECA figures is comparable to, say, a Transformer, right? Like a Voyager series Transformer, right? Okay, well that makes sense. It's about $30, $35. So, and back then it would cost you $12.99. So, I guess that's on par. I guess that's what it costs. It's just, you know, it just, if you want to spend $1,000 worth of crap, it just seems like it adds up quick, which it does. But, you know, so it is what it is. So that's an hour. We'll call it at that, and we'll call this the 1984 Sears Wishbook video that we went through. I said you can get this, you can download this on archive.com. I'm going to download it real quick myself here, so I have a copy of it. You know, you can get a PDF of it. So I'll grab a PDF of that so I can look at that a little bit more in detail and reminisce about 1984. So we'll see what the year brings with stuff and see what what's the new things to buy, what are the new, you know, consumer products to consume this year, and see what we can afford too. That's the kicker. All right, I will catch you later. Bye-bye.